What?
Moore,
Here?
O'Kane,
Here.
Shaner, here. Scott,
Here,
Waters.
Here.
please stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nicholas Wirtz, will meet me at the microphone here.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep. We have a commendation that reads, whereas Lutheran Services of Iowa first established an office in Sioux City in 1939 under the name of the Lutheran Welfare Society, serving the needs of vulnerable Iowans in northwest Iowa. Whereas LSI services over the decades have included foster care, adoption services, early childhood, and youth programs, and refugee resettlement services in the Siouxland region. And whereas LSI's refugee resettlement services in Sioux City were discontinued in 2001 due to reductions in federal funding. And whereas 1 year ago, LSI renewed its commitment to welcoming and empowering refugees and immigrants to the Siouxland regions by reestablishing refugee resettlement services as well as other immigrant integration services. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of City Council, do hereby recognize the 1 year anniversary of LSI's immigrant and refugee community services in Sioux City and commend this observance to all citizens. I'd like to present this to you. Say a few words if you would, introduce your group.
Would you mind if we got a picture with you, Mayor? Would you mind taking a picture?
Thank you. Say a few words if you'd like.
You guys want to stay? Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for the opportunity. Appreciate the recognition. My name is Nick Wirtz. I serve as LSI's Director of Immigrant and Refugee Community Services. It's actually approaching about the 2 year mark that we first had a conversation about kind of reestablishing refugee resettlement services here in the Sioux City community. So I just want to thank the Council and thank the community for its support. Certainly not something that we do on our own. There are countless volunteers, donors, community partners that help us welcome newcomers here to the community. So our team actively welcomes those that are coming through the U.S. Refugee Resettlement Program here to the Sioux City community, helping them find housing before they arrive, furnishing housing through community donations, and then helping families get acclimated and started with life here in Sioux City, and that includes finding employment, getting children enrolled in school, and connecting to healthcare services. Our team provides case management services. We're also offering English language learning opportunities out at the Tyson plant in Dakota City, and have been providing supplemental support to Afghan arrivals that have been coming to the community over the last year and a half. Just a couple updates. Over the last year, we have resettled 74 individuals here to the community. The primary countries that they have come from have included Afghanistan, Guatemala, Colombia, Vietnam, Somalia, Eritrea, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ethiopia. About 75% of the cases are joining family members that are already here, and 25% are coming here without any family in the community. In the year ahead, just some things that we are working on, we're preparing to receive up to 150 individuals here in the Siouxland area. Our team is working to expand outreach to Ukrainian arrivals, both here in this region of the state, but also around the state, because they haven't come through the refugee resettlement channels, but many of them are eligible for and need connections to some of those same community resources. And then our team's really excited. We've been awarded some startup funding to begin a childcare business development program here in the Siouxland area to help women start in-home childcare businesses and become licensed and registered, to really try and expand the number of culturally and linguistically appropriate childcare slots that are available. There's a number of ways we are looking to continue to engage the community. We have a number of employment opportunities, but employ a lot of volunteers throughout our services as well. So we are looking for volunteers to help transport families before they get their own vehicles to get to medical appointments, helping us with move-ins, apartment setups, training on the bus, and helping us sort and organize donations. Some of our in-kind items that we are looking for include hygiene items, cleaning supplies, cooking utensils, and bedding. I just wanted to introduce our team. We have a fantastic team here in the Sioux City community, so I'll have them stand again. But Fatia Adam is one of our resettlement case managers, Abdullahi Yusuf, an employment case manager, and Anna Stokes, our community engagement specialist who works with volunteers and donors. So thank you again for this important recognition.
Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda, which is items 3 through 12B. Consider them to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote's asked for by a council member. Please come up if you want to speak on any item as I read it. Any person wishing to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. Remember to always state your name and address for the record. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. 3 is the reading of the city council minutes of February 4th and 6th. 4 is a resolution scheduling a hearing on the annual plan for Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. 5 is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Whispering Creek Drive and Castle Gates Drive intersection repaving project. 6 are actions relating to bonds. A is a resolution electing classification procedures for bond projects. Items 6B to G are resolutions scheduling hearings on the issuance of general obligation bonds. 7 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution approving and change order number 1 to the contract for L&L Builders for the River City Landing Parking Facility Elevator Upgrade. Please explain to me how we could have missed this big a deal, and what percentage of profit are you allowing the contractor? You don't have to explain it. Where's your architect? But go ahead. It's a rather substantial, so what was missed on the plans?
Terry Glade, CMBA Architects. Yes, so when this project was started a few years ago, we were tasked with trying to put out documents that would cover the repairs needed to the elevators that were called out by the elevator inspector and noted by your elevator maintenance contractor. So that is what we did. We bid it once, it came in high, we split it apart, and this particular thing relates to mechanical rooms for these elevators, and that was never brought up by either the elevator inspector or by the elevator contractor, maintenance contractor, and so that was never researched. There are some floor drains in those elevator pits that empty directly into the city's sanitary sewer, which is no longer allowed. We had to add some sump pits, some actual sump pumps that need to be directed out and vented out. That's part of this. And then those mechanical rooms need to be ventilated and cooled. That's what the extent of these repairs are.
But I'm not.
I think you're saying why originally was that not done, or what?
Why did we not know that? I mean, that's the job of you, isn't it? I mean,
well, yes, we specify, typically on project, we specify elevators, new elevators. In a retrofit project, that we just didn't consider the mechanical issues that there might be in the mechanical room at the time. We were more concerned with the code-related items that were brought up and the electrical items that the maintenance contractor were pointing out.
so what kind of profit, did you spell out what they were allowed on the change order?
We did not spell out a specific profit margin.
So we're just at their mercy.
I mean, their overhead, their listed overhead is 8%. Overhead 8%, fee of 7%, which is fairly typical for construction contracts.
And what are you asking for additional fee?
Nothing. We're absorbing the cost. There was some redesign that's required. There'll be some redesign that will be required for our second phase, and we are not charging anything for that.
Well, this is not very welcome news, and the fact that we've rebid this because it was so high, and now we're finding this change order. So where are you getting the money for this?
I'm the Parking and Skywalk Division Supervisor. It actually was under bid what was anticipated for it, so we do have the money for that.
Did Henry and his group review the plans?
Yes, they did.
And they didn't know that either?
As far as you mean the building or the
I'm guessing they didn't.
mechanical-
pump and ventilation? Yeah. Must
Yeah,
not
it's
have.
it's not one of the more obvious things that you'd look for.
Okay. B is a resolution approving a contract to Holstein Excavating at the Elk Creek Road Construction Project. C is a resolution approving an amendment to the Administrative Services Agreement with Mission Square Retirement, adding the option for a self-directed brokerage account. D is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Schumacher Elevator Company for the Zenith Elevator Rehabilitation Project.
I have a question on that one. Just a quick one.
Your Brad was just happy to hear from someone about the elevator.
I know. That seemed really fortuitous because we couldn't find anybody that was interested, and then, they fell out of.
I'm guessing somebody called Kevin
Yeah.
after our budget hearing, be my guess.
My question on that one was initially when it was flagged, we were given 3 months, right? 3 months to make the repair.
Yeah, so the initial was back in 2020, I believe, right before COVID. They gave everyone a pass through 2022. Once they started back up doing inspections, yeah, they gave 3 months. We applied for an additional 3-month waiver.
We never heard back.
We never heard back from the state. But
Are we under a timeline right now?
I asked the state inspector when it had to be done by. He said before I show up again.
Right, sure.
So I don't know exactly what that meant, but
Okay.
I think we're in good shape. I think as long as they know we're working on it, we won't have any issues.
Thank you.
Yep.
E1 is a resolution adopting a restated deferred compensation plan and trust with Nationwide Trust Company. Did we force?
Well,
did
I think we skipped 7F.
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Never mind. I'm jumping ahead.
Did we force the firemen to go into the other plan and now they've always been a Nationwide?
Yeah, they were allowed to stay in Nationwide.
Okay, I was just wondering about that. E2 is a resolution approving an agreement with Administrative Services for the 457 plan with Nationwide Retirement Solutions. E3 is a resolution approving a 457 custody agreement with Nationwide Trust Company to establish deferred compensation plan account. E4 is a resolution approving an option for a self-directed brokerage account with Nationwide Trust Company through Charles Schwab. F is a resolution approving a development and minimum assessment agreement with Cyclone on Floyd. 8 are actions relating to personnel. A is a resolution approving an updated job description for communications operator. B is a resolution approving an updated job description for police officers. C is a resolution reassigning several wastewater treatment plant positions to new pay ranges. D is a resolution reassigning wastewater treatment plant maintenance supervisor to the pay range D19. E is a resolution reassigning the laboratory supervisor to pay range S19. F1 is the resolution approving an updated job description for the economic development manager. F2, a resolution approving an updated job description for the housing services manager. F3 is a resolution adding thereto the position, title, and job description of inspection services manager. F4 is a resolution approving an updated job description for the planning and neighborhood services division manager. I'd like to abstain on all four of those, please. We need a motion to amend the item correcting the class to 4081 for F4. You guys can move that.
I'll move it.
Second.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner. Aye. Scott.
Abstain.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Now as amended. Some of you need to move that.
But,
Second. Yes.
It's already
okay.
part of it. Okay.
right.
F5 is a resolution amending the classification manual, approving an updated job description for neighborhood services supervisor. F6 is a resolution approving an updated job description for neighborhood services outreach supervisor. F7 is a resolution approving an updated job description for housing rehabilitation supervisor. And F8 is a resolution adding to the real estate specialist position. I'll make a motion to amend the item correcting the class code to 4-1417.
Second.
Shaner. Aye. Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye. F9 is a resolution deleting the community development operations manager position and the 2 neighborhood services project coordinator positions. G is a resolution reclassifying 2 part-time positions in the library services associates to library assistant. 9 are actions authorizing payment. A is a resolution approving funds transfers for the month of January. B is a motion approving the list of all claims, total expenses, and receipts for January. 10 is purchasing. A is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Lincoln Wind Water Works for the purchase of fittings for the utility field headquarters. B is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Utility Equipment Company for the purchase of solid sleeves for the utility field headquarters. C is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Dakota Supply for the purchase of gland packs for the utility field headquarters. D is a resolution awarding a purchase order to American Underground for the purchase of fire hydrants for the utility field headquarters. E is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Utility Equipment Company for the purchase of fire hydrants for the utility field headquarters. F is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Jebril for liquid asphalt for the field service division. G is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Hefner Consulting for IBM hardware and software. 11 are applications for beer and liquor license. 12 are boards, commission, and committee minutes. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Passes 5-0. 13 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of the Neighborhood Services Division for the lease of land in the combined Central Sioux City CBD urban renewal area, the property, and the Martin Luther King Jr. Ground Transportation Center. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 14 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of 101 West 3rd Street LLC for land in the combined Central Sioux City CBD urban renewal area and authorizing a First Amendment to the development agreement and a minimum assessment agreement property at 109 West 3rd Street. You want to move that?
I'll move it.
Second.
Anyone to be heard? The public hearing is now open. Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 4-0 to 1, I abstain. 15 is an ordinance amending Chapter 13.08 sanitary sewer rates. of the municipal code to increase rate charges for hauled septic tank waste and hauled high-strength water. First and second consideration approved January 23rd and February 6th. I'll move third reading.
Second. I appreciated the memo comparing and contrasting.
Passes 5-0. 16 is a resolution canceling the purchase order issued to Jensen Motors for one Ford Super Cab F-150 truck. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 17 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Ed Stevers Ford for one Ford Super Cab F-150 truck. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 18 is a resolution approving a 10-year agreement for the solid waste collection, recycling, and disposal services with Gill Hauling for 2 5-year renewable options deferred from February 6th. Want to make a motion for that?
Oh, I'll move it.
Second.
Anyone to be heard?
I just want to make some comments to Sean, if I may. Hi, Sean. Either one, whatever you're comfortable with.
I'm Sean McDowell, Gill Hauling.
John, I appreciate that you put a matrix together for us that set out the 10 years, 7 years, 5 years, and with the options of weekly recycling and the number of gallons of the containers. And there's a little bit of a price difference in those. So I appreciated that you have given that to us. It seems like the emails that I've received, the comments I've received have been overwhelmingly in favor of weekly recycling.
Getting the same feedback as well.
You got the same feedback as well. Okay. And I take it you would not have presented these options to us had you not been in favor of or agreeable to do weekly recycling. And I think that is important to our recycling program.
No, I agree. And the initial thought on looking at the every other week was following the trends of Council Bluffs and Omaha.
Exactly.
And basically looking at what to give the cheapest cost option to see what's out there. And I think doing the pricing matrix this way can kind of broaden the horizon on all the service level options and what it looks like.
I think it does too, Sean. And the other thing, and what appeals to me would be the option of the 95-gallon weekly trash and 65-gallon weekly recycle, because a lot of people are also saying they didn't know if they could handle the size of a 95, and if we're doing it weekly, they like the size of a 65. But I do want everyone to understand that, and if I'm reading your matrix correctly, and I think I am, initially the proposal would have been for the 95-gallon weekly trash, 95-gallon every other week recycle, and it'd be for a 10-year contract, it would be $17.30 per home per month.
Correct.
If we go to the weekly recycling, it's the 65-gallon, not 95, but 65. For a 10-year, it'd be $18.80
That's correct.
per home per month. And so I just want the council and the mayor to know that I'm leaning toward favoring that, and I don't know if, once we have our discussion with the other council members, if that's going to take a motion to amend, because right now we're looking at what was presented last week, correct, Mayor, the 10-year contract. And I just want to reiterate this, Sean, because it's important to me, looking at the 10 years, is that we've got, the city has a 6-month termination provision at the city's convenience.
Correct.
That's still in there. So, but the other ones, 7 and 5, are really close. I mean, I'm repeating myself, but I appreciated the matrix because it really helped put it in perspective. of what we need to look at. So thank you for that good work for us.
Oh, absolutely. And the only other language that we want to be addressed through the feedback we got is to add some specific language on the downtown partners on putting additional commercial recycle dumpsters out. And we don't have a guideline yet from the downtown partners on the total number of cans. But if we could commit to, I don't know if that number's 10, I don't know if that number's 22, or if it's 4. We would just commit and put language in addition to the contract that states we'll work with them and do whatever we can to increase the commercial recycle downtown.
Okay, sure appreciate that as well. I will tell you, and I didn't have a chance to visit with anyone on this. I'm still wishing we could do something with the 3%, 5% floor and ceiling. But I understand, just so everyone else understands, I understand that's whether it's, well, we already have the first year will be in place, so the CPI index will kick in the second year.
Yep.
And I was hoping maybe we could extend that a couple of years. I understand that that's not agreeable, at least at this point in time. So I did want to bring that up with you because I told you before, frankly, what my comments were and where I stood with some of this.
Yep, understood. And, right now we're at $17.42 per home is the base rate. So taking into account, foregoing a 2% and what's really out on the street, the 9 to 10% inflation that everybody's survived through over the last year, we're trying to keep that in line with the pricing going forward.
I appreciate that. And one final comment, because this came up from an email to all of us as well. And you answered it last week, but I'd like to have you answer it again so I have the facts right. Mm-hmm. The question was, so with all of the containers that are being replaced, what are you doing with the containers that you're picking up?
So Sierra Container is the vendor we use. We use them throughout the country. They have a plant in Iowa and in Illinois. I don't know which plant. They may do the recycle carts out of one and the trash carts out of the other. We're paying them to the tune, I believe it's $8.05 per unit. So when they deliver the new containers, they will disassemble and remove the old containers and take them back to their plant.
Okay, so they're not going to a landfill. They're going
correct
to a plant to be recycled.
Yep.
That's what you said last week.
And I think it's going to, there's such a wide variety of cans out there, from the old blown mold versus the injection mold. People above my pay grade can tell me, but I think the average cost is going to be about $8 per can to get them recycled.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
You own the trucks now. Somebody thought we still own them, but you guys own the trucks.
Yes, sir.
You did, but I just wanted you to say that because there are people that think we own those trucks and we don't anymore. Right. Thank you.
Well, how are we going to? But my recommendation, because there are potential changes, would be to come back with a clean version of the contract, because if we attempt to make changes on the floor, I always am a little apprehensive that we won't capture everything as far as the direction that's been given.
Would that include what Sean had said about some provisions in there about the downtown partners?
Sure. I hadn't heard of those yet, so it's something, I'm guessing that Roger probably has additional detail related to that.
So I'm sorry, go ahead, Alex.
No, you're fine. Because I know that we had talked about that. I know the mayor had brought it up at one point in time as well, and you seemed really open to that possibility. And I know in our team's meeting, Roger and Tom and everyone's on the same page that you wanted to offer that. I think we just want to make sure we have some specificity with the language in the contract as far as expectations. And I think that helps you understand what the scope is as well. Because for me, I'm wondering things, not only the number of units, and I agree working with downtown partners to know where they are is important, but also the size. The size of the glass ones versus the size of a standard dumpster are very different, and where you'd be able to put them would be very different. So then it's kind of like, what are you seeing as options, or what have other communities have? And then we can look at the number. But if we defer that and then in that time can speak with downtown partners and other stakeholders, at least then you can have a better idea of 5 of this size and you can anticipate that cost. I greatly appreciate your openness to that, because I've heard that from a lot of people that they want that, but I agree, just for both of us to have some specificity language in the contract would be a good thing.
Totally agree, and we're going to take the downtown partners direction on that with your all input, because We have no, it could be wildly successful. They could only need a few cans. We don't know the answer to that
Yeah,
yet.
and that's where it's challenging.
And Gill Hauling through Sean, you have dispelled a lot of the rumors or a lot of the thinking about how we handle recycling materials. And I greatly appreciate that because we really needed to get some clear direction for our citizens on how important the recycling program is. And it always has been for us. So
Thank you, and we want to be a good partner with the communities we're privileged to serve, so thank you.
I just have one question, Roger. I know I've been here on garbage day and I never see any recycle bins out there. I see a lot of garbage cans behind City Hall, and I'm pretty religious about putting stuff in those blue deals. So when do they pick up? Different days?
1 second. Ma'am, if you want to have a seat, we'll call you up in a second.
Roger, Environmental Services. They do have cardboard that they do set out, and there's recycling, I believe. It just
but
isn't in.
why do we have
Blue waste baskets, and I put stuff in them if they aren't picking up recycling here.
Yeah, they do. They do. It's
But
just, they're
I've been
not.
here on garbage days, so when do they pick that up?
It's according to the city facilities schedule. I believe it's Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
I'd have to look, but
But
that sounds correct.
yeah,
Well, it's
but we
amazing,
can.
Bob, because all I've ever seen is green garbage cans. I've been here 3 times now in the last
I'll
month.
get you the schedule for recycling
Okay,
collection.
all right.
Yeah, but I know they are.
Okay, thank you.
Which is different from this contract too then, right?
Yes.
Like
know
I
it's
understand
different, but it's different.
facilities versus residential and that type of stuff.
Right.
I know it's different. I still want to know, because every time I go out.
No, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Miriam, come on up.
I was under the understanding that recycling was free.
Recycling is free, yes.
We get charged $8 and something a month at United Lutheran Church.
I'm sorry.
We get charged $9 at United Lutheran Church for recycling.
on the commercial.
That's a different deal, though. That's commercial.
They use less than I do at home. Very small church. That's $100 a year that could use for missions and so forth.
No, I understand, but I don't even think that, I don't understand how the city ever got in the business of picking up at these churches. I know Mr. Moore's church has a lot of green deals where our church they won't do it. We have to have a container out back. I don't know what the difference.
I think that's. I could check, but I don't think it's run through a city account anymore for garbage collection. I think that's all been privatized.
Maybe Sean, would you know, Sean, how that works for churches? And
I think Tom might have some information.
Yeah, so any individual business wouldn't fall under the municipal, residential agreement. That would just be an individual agreement between you and whomever hauls your waste. So whether it was us or Waste Management or OC or anybody else.
But you have a lot of containers probably at her church, and I see them at First Lutheran.
Yep.
Those are your green roller carts, not like my church you guys charge us for a roll-off or a container.
Dumpster.
Yeah, it would just be dependent upon the individual needs of that establishment. That's a case-by-case basis.
And we can put it in our bin then.
Yeah, you don't have to recycle.
Okay. And have you thought about putting these recycling in these big apartment?
That's what we've been kind of talking about with some of this, or at least in our downtown locations.
Well, like the one out in the west side there. Because I know there are a lot of people that would recycle.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about, is having some recycle, the longer bins that people can go and bring it to.
Last year you were looking for places, and I was going to suggest that.
Yeah, we're hoping to get that wrapped up in this year's contract.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. So much.
I have a question for you.
Miriam.
I did do it.
Oh, here, I'll put my pen down. No, you've been a very active community member over the years. You have a recycling bin at home?
Oh, absolutely.
Is a 65 gallon recyclable?
It's the pink ones.
Yeah, those are manageable, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And that's probably the 95.
But I need a smaller garbage because I don't use garbage. I
You can order
I'm
that.
in the
compost and recycle.
Yeah, I've been in the same boat.
Is the
What
Thank
goes
you.
in my garbage cans what I pick up off the street.
Is the pink one the 95 gallon though? Not the
Sean?
65?
I got a
Smaller.
small one.
It's
Oh.
smaller.
The majority of the legacy pink cans are 95 gallon, then we also have some 65 gallon if customers specifically request those.
Are
Oh,
they
I-
pink though? I've only seen green 65 gallon.
We have
Roger's got that.
maybe 100.
Oh, do
The
you?
early ones.
Yeah, I think Sergeant Bluff went to 95s at one time.
Yep.
And so we ordered when I was with Gill. And then 65 is the blue and the pink here in Sioux City.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I wonder if a lot of these people that are new here really understand a lot about this recycling.
Well, I promise you, we do as much as.
Mine in dark garbage bags, right?
What's that?
Across the street, there was 4 cases of beer cans in the garbage can. Cases.
I think it's an education
Yeah, I
component
do
for
too.
sure.
We aren't hearing much about that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, we do. I mean, we've invested a lot of money as far as education and trying, but you're right. It's a continued effort
It's ongoing. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Miriam?
Thank you. A
We
while
need
back,
your-
somebody
we-
said you can put Walmart
Address.
IV bags in now. I heard this week I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Oh, that's been for a while.
Yeah.
The grocery bags,
Well, I asked that a while back and they said, oh, you can do it if you ball them up, but now
that's been
Plastic.
actually a few
and I'm
years
not
back.
supposed to put them in black garbage bags, my recycle.
Yeah, that was a few years back. That was before I got here, that
See, that's what I'm
changed.
saying.
And that's the challenge of recycling is the changes that occur and getting that message out and how we get it out to the different demographics, because not everybody sees or reads or
Right.
the same thing. So, I mean, we continue to find different ways to communicate with the public.
And that's strictly through the post-collection site. So we're getting that direction from the MRF, from vans who we directly take it to, what can and cannot go in there. We could explore options of taking it to the Omaha market, but I know in that market right now, we're paying $115 per ton. So it's a wide array. The quality of the material that we as a community put in the recycle containers is a direct reflection of the price we pay.
They're getting a lot more black bags on the ground again, and not in the totes.
And then is that where you're seeing
You
the
need your
can?
address.
No, the cans are in the garbage cans.
Miriam, we need your address for the record,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
1423 West 4, Miriam Clayton.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I guess I'm really confused then as far as the size difference. That I always thought I had the larger size and I've seen the smaller ones. So which?
I can bring new cards.
No, that's okay. To
What's a
Dan's
regular
point,
garbage can now, 95 or?
that's what I
Then
thought,
the-
right? So I
Here
probably
comes
have a
Roger.
95 of both of them. I'm guessing.
Are they?
There, at some point, the city allowed stickers to go out and mark a 95 trash, so individuals could, on their own, change a garbage to a recycling. So there are some of those out there as well that are a 95 recycle with sticker that looks like garbage.
You're going every 2 weeks and I've got a 65 or 95 already, then I'm going to be out of space because I fill it up every week.
Right. So we're not going to go every 2 weeks.
Or you could get an additional cart.
I'd like to try to keep it weekly, Mayor. The other point is, Sean, I use, right now I'm using the 65 and fill it up to the brim every week. And if I want to go to so I can't get two 65s now under the contract, I'd have to go to the 95. And then if I get the 95 recycling bin, could I get a second 95 or a second 65?
Yeah, so outside of the pricing matrix that we set up, we gave the option of doing if somebody wants to go down to a 65 trash and a 95 recycle, that's totally fine. And that is, how many homes is it currently, Roger? About 330 homes currently use a 65 trash with a larger recycle can, and that's discounted about $1.40 per month in the proposal from the standard rate.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Well, if we get all new trolleys, then that's really going to clear up some of the confusion too, because it'll be standardized then. So that should help.
I'm sorry to have you keep going back and forth, man. I'm really, I was going to say, yeah, I hope you got your watch on, ready to go. Can you talk to me about just, did you see the reason that these other communities are going towards the every other week? Is it just a cost saving measure? Is there anything else? Because like I'm calculating it and we're really looking at, you know, like for a household would be like $18 a year, you know, for that household. They're just trying to save those taxpayer dollars from bearing that.
Yeah, it's strictly cost savings on the council's part, yep. And I'm sure some wear and tear in the roads as well.
Yeah. No, I understand.
What do you want to do?
So do we need a motion? A motion to amend?
27th. You would either need to delete or defer. That would be my recommendation.
Delete or?
Back a new draft of the
Nicole, could they do a motion to defer, but then a motion directing staff to move to whatever option you want?
Sure, or just give direction without
Or
a
give
motion.
direction,
That would
yeah.
be fine.
Okay. Well, how long do you need? A week?
Well, there actually isn't a council meeting until the 27th.
Oh, that's right, because of the holiday. Okay. Well, I'll move that we defer the item until February 27th. We don't meet on the 20th. February 27th. You want the direction within the motion? Probably not. Let's defer. Motion to defer, and then we'll talk about direction.
Is there a second?
Sorry.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
O'Kane?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Hesitated on that.
Give your direction. That's why I hesitated, because I don't know what you're going to come up with.
Wait.
My first day on the job.
You're doing a good job. The direction I would like to give staff is to go, on this matrix that was presented, would be for the service level and cost, the 95-gallon weekly trash and the 65-gallon weekly recycle. And I like the term of 10 years because we have a provision to terminate with a 6-month notice. So this 10-year term would be $18.80 per home per month.
So you're going to have everybody, the majority of our citizens, go backwards on the container size for...
I would like to see them get the big recycling container, and then if they want a smaller one, they could request it.
We can do that? We can do the 95? Well, then I stand, that's great then. The 95-gallon weekly trash, 95-gallon weekly recycle. So we're going back up to the 19. So then we're going to the $19.05.
Which is?
Per home per month.
Right.
Just double check that. No, I'm fine with that. I see.
Okay.
And then we have the option of taking a 65.
Right, so it doesn't
We don't have
discourage
the
anybody
option
from
anymore,
filling
though,
it
to
up.
get the bins. The bins are
No.
history, right?
But for me, I feel like a bin full of glass to carry to the curb if I'm elderly would be harder than using the trolley almost to steady it and walk out.
Yeah.
You know, steady
Okay.
my...
So-
Roger, he's getting up.
How much is an extra?
Oh, well, recyclables, I mean. Yeah. Right.
How much is an extra garbage bin?
$4.25 per month.
What is it now?
$4.16 per month, I believe.
And I have 2 of those during the season for the grass
Pick them up and take them back?
grass clippings.
Sean.
You have to pick one up and take it back, and then...
No, I use it primarily for the.
Well, I'm saying, you have to be paying for it for the whole year.
I am. I don't think
Unless you catch a side deal with Waste Manager or with Gill that we don't know about up here.
No, I've got it for the 12 months. The second trash container I use for yard clippings. Tree bushes, that kind of thing. So I can't just take that May through October and say, here, take it back for the.
I mean, you could, there's no provision, we're just making extra trips back and forth.
Yeah, it's easier.
Don't tell him that, he'll try it.
Keep it.
So I have two things that I would say. Number one, the only part of like staff direction that I would ask is just if we can get with Downtown Partners, talk with Reagan Cody just about, you know, what, or at least if she can shop it out to whether it's her executive board or one of the committees to get feedback or thoughts as far as where they would like to go. Sean, I think you'll have to give direction as far as the size you would prefer and what's available, because then they would know maybe where those could be placed. But I think that's the direction I would give, is to see how many are needed and what that thought would be, like what those levels would be and how that would vary if they're being utilized, if they're not being utilized.
The quickest way to look at that is, let's say we look at a 3-block by 3-block area. We add up the cubic yardage of all of the commercial dumpsters. Let's say it's 200 cubic yards, and we deem that 20% of that volume is recyclable. We would look to reduce the trash yardage by 40 yards and provide 40 cubic yards of space for recycle. So it's not going to be just plucking dumpsters down. We really got to look at the individual waste stream and what each business really needs.
Great. Well, I would, if we can have that conversation with Reagan and maybe her team before then, or at least a couple of them, and have a meeting, I would appreciate that. That's the direction I would ask. The only other thing that I wanted to ask for clarification is, looking at the matrix, the 95-gallon weekly trash and 95-gallon every other week recycle. If someone wanted to request a 65-gallon recycle container under that option, they could.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Yep.
And then, if my second part of this question is, if we're still at recycling every other week, they could request for a second container, whether it be 65 or 95, for free.
Correct.
Correct? Because I guess where I'm going with this is, I understand the convenience of weekly recycling. There's something to be said about convenience, that it happens every week. You know that it's happening because it's every week, it's consistent. But then there's also the notion that if you are filling your recycling in that week and you request an additional container, because you do recycle it, because now we're going every other week, and so you need a whole nother container to be able to fill it during that time period as well, and then you just make sure that you're bringing that out, you get that additional container for free. But if we go to the every week, then we're saying, well, there's no longer a free option to increase your size, but we are going to now charge you $21 per year in addition. Whether you recycle or not, your rate will be increasing by $21 a year. Correct?
You don't get a second recycling bin for the every week?
If somebody wants it, yeah, absolutely.
Requested, yeah.
I mean, I've got a house of 6 with 3 dogs. I mean, we fill a 96 every other week. So, I mean, if you've got a large family that's producing a lot, you know, not to minimize anyone in that situation, but that's the 1% of the 1% you'd be looking at. You know, that would be a handful of customers we would make a reasonable accommodation for.
So the fees are based on the solid waste size.
But I wouldn't be able to get two 65s for recycling. I'd have to go to a 95 first and then could get a second 65 the way the contract reads.
The way the contract reads is for the simplicity of the overall view. If there's individual circumstances where we can help somebody in the community, we're going to do it. You know, that's just trying to be a good partner. But if we needed to specify every situation in the contract, we just
never be able to.
It'd get very long-winded. At the end of the day, we want to be a good community partner, and if there's somebody who needs something specific, we'll address that on an individual basis.
So there's almost any configuration a homeowner can have. If I need 2 trash, I can get 2 trash. If I need 2 recycles,
but you
I
pay
can
extra.
get 2 recycles.
Pay trash.
You pay extra for the trash, the $4 and
25
cents, but not for the recycle.
Correct.
Because we did get a few emails, and their concern was, I fill up my recycle bin every week, so now what am I going to do? So
and
you
that's
get the second one at no charge is what they would do, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If
correct.
we stayed with if we decided to go every other week.
Correct.
Which was what I was saying. My argument is, if you fill it every week, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want to recycle as much as I possibly can.
But if we stick with the proposed every other week, I just get another bin and it's free. And then I fill that up.
Right.
But if we stay with it every week, then suddenly everyone's bill goes up $21 a year. And so that's what I'm weighing is it worth it increasing that, or would you just get a free extra bin if you're one of those anomalies?
You better present two proposals next week then, one for every other week, just.
And I hear what you're saying, Alex, but here's what I wrestle with, and Roger I think will back me up on this. For years, we've been in the educational process of recycling, and I just don't want to do anything, and the overwhelming emails I've seen are saying, keep it weekly so we've got the routine. Keep it weekly, we got the routine. We'll do it every week. Try to do it every other week. Sometimes you'll want to do it, sometimes you might not want to do it. It's an uphill.
And individuals have that choice. If their bin is not full that week, they don't have to set it out. That's one less. It's a little bit quicker. The trucks can get through the routes faster. So, yeah, it can work for those who, don't fill up their bins every week.
Because right now, if you look at about 56% of the residents have a recycle cart right now, and of those, call it 15,000 homes, about 2/3 of them put it out every single week. So that's your general participation rate. A lot of folks do it every other week now because of the size of the container.
We're trying to get the percent up, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously, having more recycling bins is our goal, and then having smaller, trash bins. So.
Right.
But again, you're asking for a material that takes time and effort and, to clean and prepare and so that it's recyclable, so.
Well, I threw out the direction if somebody wants to do something different. I mean, I went with you on doing it's 95 gallon, right? Not 96?
I believe it's
Whatever the gallon is.
95.4 to be.
The big one.
Yep.
So the 95 gallon weekly trash, 95 gallon weekly recycle, 10-year term, $19.05 per home, $19.05 per home per month. That's the direction I was asking for. It was the other direction I was initially asking about, but I see your point about get the 95 recycle, and you can downsize it if you want.
Yep. And we don't know yet if it's a phone call or we want to set up an email address to where folks have let's call it March 1st through the end of April while we're ordering our equipment.
To adjust size or quantity or,
And the folks who don't contact us are going to get what they currently have now, just new. So if you have a 95 trash, 95 recycle, and an additional 95 cart, and you don't contact us, that's what we're going to redeliver new to you.
You want a little Hope Springs Eternal from me?
I'm just.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Listening to your wisdom today.
Someday, wouldn't it be nice if we don't have any trash containers and it's all recyclable?
Well, if we continue to have it, I hope they get electric trucks for your friend to the left there too, so we can really, again, literally and figuratively.
No, I'm not saying that.
What are you guys
He
doing?
wants to get you electrical vehicles.
You got any of those electric garbage trucks? You'll be a hero here today.
Not yet. I just don't know. They're rolling them out in some areas in the country, but.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Okay. I'll be quiet.
I would ask, and put it this way, we'll know on Wednesday, we're having our budget hearing, we'll kind of have a little more direction as far as where the overall is going to go. I think we're going to make a lot of tough budgetary decisions over the next coming years, and putting an extra $21 on taxpayers for that may or may not be utilizing it is something I want to think a little bit more about. So if we can come back with two proposals on the 27th, I would appreciate that. And then hopefully after Wednesday on budget hearing, we'll have a little bit better.
Well, you're going to put on 44% of the people because they don't recycle.
Correct.
You're going to put it on almost half your people.
So just to clarify, the two proposals are weekly and every other, but 95 gallon with the ability to ask for a smaller.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I'm sorry if that didn't narrow things down.
It did.
And then the only other direction then is getting with downtown partners to try to have a scope so we have language.
And that's just simply language we can add to the addendum right below where we adding the 6 additional roll-off boxes.
Okay. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very helpful.
I'm sure if anybody's listening out in TV land, they're understand everything that just happened here.
Yeah,
today.
no kidding.
I'm confident that we'll never get another email because they'll understand. Are there any citizens that would like to be heard today? You guys get an honor for hanging around the whole time.
No kidding. You want another combination?
Thank you so much.
Tell you what, let's print you off something
Right.
new.
That is appreciated.
Mr. O'Kane, what do you have for the good of the order?
Budget wrap-up, 8:30, Wednesday, council chambers. Friday is Random Acts of Kindness Day. Everyone can participate. Everyone can participate every day for that matter. It's everything for me.
Julie.
Well, we had a big weekend in Sioux City for lots of visitors, lots of activities. Steins and Vines was downtown. We had our first rag bri visit today from the powers that be to give us an idea. We're going to be forming 19 committees are necessary to facilitate this event, which will bring at least 50,000 people to our beautiful city. So please consider getting on a committee. That information will be posted later on, but we need to have our committees formed by March, the middle of March. So if you have any interest in entertainment or anything, food, it could be anything, but again, the 19 committees will be posted. Please consider helping. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be really worth it to show up our beautiful city. Happy Valentine's Day a day early. I should mention that. It's my anniversary of 44 years married to the same wonderful man.
Okay, Alex.
The only thing that I would echo is for sure think about getting involved with the RAGBRAI committees to be able to help with that effort. It's pretty exciting, I think, to be kicking off the 50th year. It's a pretty big undertaking. They were sharing some numbers at that meeting that said that at this point in time, they have 3,000 more people registered for the race. At this point in time, 3,000 more people registered than the entire registrants from the last race. So they're really outpacing themselves, and I'm looking forward to it. So we just got a lot of work to do in the meantime. So I'm looking forward to the people of Siouxland stepping up and making sure that we show them a good time. That's all I have.
Mr. Moore.
Mayor, the only thing I have is to thank Teresa Fitch for sending out another report on the American Rescue Plan pending status that we all received this past week. So thank you, Teresa. I'm glad we're getting the scorecard on a regular basis. That's all I move we adjourn. Second.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
It's all yours, Danny boy.